Is Satsuma, Alabama really the best place to live in all of Mobile County? Well, if niche.com is to be believed, then yes. On this week's episode of Moving to Mobile, we're going into the top 5 places there are to live in all of Mobile County. Now, with each of these cities, we're going to be diving deep into things like their community, their neighborhoods, the cost of living, and more, so make sure to stay tuned. This is Moving to Mobile, and I'm your host, David Beasley. Welcome back to the channel. In a second, we're going to jump right into the list, but before we do, I actually need to make a major disclaimer. As most of you already know, I'm a local realtor in Southern Alabama who helps people buy and sell homes down here. This is why I make this channel, to actually connect with you. Now, as a realtor, I cannot and I should not steer people to one part of town over another. So in this video, I'll be going over public information that's offered by niche.com. This is not my list. However, I will expand on the information provided by niche.com and hopefully give you a well-rounded understanding of all of these areas. I'm going to leave a link to this list down in the comments below so you can access it later at your own convenience. After we get done with this list, I'm going to be giving you one last major piece of advice that could change everything about where you want to move, so make sure to stay tuned for that as well. So as I already said in the intro of this video, at the very top of our list is actually Satsuma, Alabama. In full disclosure, I was a little shocked when I saw that niche.com actually had this rated so highly, but as I started digging into these ratings, it started to kind of make more sense. To start, Satsuma falls right along I-65, so it's really convenient to get to northward attractions, eastward attractions, and southward attractions. It's about 15 miles north of downtown Mobile, which makes this nightlife distant but still accessible. Now, this is really cool because it makes this area livable for a wide range of people. It has the small town charm, but also the option for nightlife convenience. If you're into downtown attractions, great. If not, that's fine too. Compare this to if you moved to downtown, you would never escape the hustle and bustle of Mardi Gras season. Now, when I say small town, I really do mean small. Satsuma's population has about 6,000 residents, and most of them are actually really content living in this area. The median home cost is just under $200,000, and 85% of the city are homeowners. Here's the scorecard according to niche.com, and I'm going to leave this on the screen for a minute so you can really see where the city is at. I want to note that Satsuma has a really strong school system, and this is by and large because they broke away from Mobile County schools all the way back in 2012. The schools offered in this area are Robert E. Lee Elementary School and Satsuma High School, which have a really strong focus on academic achievement. Now, I'd encourage you to take note of all these scores according to niche.com, but these aren't the only things that matter. Niche actually uses a variety of metrics to rank these homes outside of these. It's using other metrics such as household incomes, resident scores, and more that isn't even shown here. Next on our list is a very similar but slightly larger suburb of Saraland. Sometimes when I'm using niche.com, I start to see a bias towards smaller communities over large communities, and with Saraland being 3 times the size of Satsuma, I kind of wonder if something like that isn't happening here. As you can see, it may not have beaten out Satsuma according to niche.com, but it actually has the same overall score of a B+. Additionally, niche.com lists it as the best place to raise a family in all of Mobile County. Again, these are not my opinions, this is all according to niche.com. When we dig into Saraland's scorecard, we can actually see that it outperforms Satsuma in a number of categories, but clearly not where it matters most. Now, Saraland has really good resident reviews, with a lot of the 5-star reviews seeming to focus mainly on the school system and neighborly feel. Now, all of the 1 and 2-star reviews seem to focus on the lack of nighttime and evening activities. Hopefully this helps you get an idea of how niche.com is rating these suburbs. Now, we're gonna go ahead and move on from Saraland because I already put out a video this week actually on all the nitty-gritty details of that city. I'm gonna leave that video at the end of this one so you can get all the details there. Now, third on our list is the city of Mobile. Now, this is obviously the most popular spot to live in Mobile County, with a population of 185,000 people. Mobile is much more of a mixed bag compared to our first 2 options. So let's break down really what we're talking about here. The city of Mobile includes areas in downtown, midtown, West Mobile, and some other spots kind of more rural up north. You can see a full city map here, and what you'll notice is that it doesn't include cities like Sims, Theodore, Coden, Wilmer, Saraland, and more. This map is what we're talking about when we say the city of Mobile. If you watched my other videos, I hope you can kind of get an idea about each of these areas individually, But if you haven't, you should just know that, like most other cities, this is pretty vague. West Mobile has an entirely different culture than Midtown, which has a fairly different culture than downtown. By and large, what I'm noticing is that the negative reviews around Mobile seem to be focusing on the average household income and the management of the city. Now, the positive reviews actually focus on a wide range of things, such as amenities, activities, culture, history, and the Southern charm. The average household income in Mobile is quite a bit lower than Satsuma and Saraland, with just $51,000 a year. For context, the national average is $78,000 a year. Here's the more detailed report card on Mobile from niche.com. Now, it's really difficult to break down Mobile in such simple terms, which is why it's so important that you know the different suburbs and neighborhoods of our city. I find it really interesting that the city of Mobile fell right in the middle of niche.com's top 5. I hope this can give you some context on the other cities on our list. The 4th best place to live in Mobile County is Grand Bay. Now, our first 3 cities actually shared an overall score of a B+, but Grand Bay actually slips to a B. So why is that? Well, let's take a look at our map. Here is Grand Bay, and here's where most people would say the action is happening. There's quite a bit going on in this area here as well, but Grand Bay isn't really close to either of those spots. Now, its saving grace is that it is closer to I-10 and Highway 90, which give it a faster route to activity as opposed to a place like Tanner Williams. However, it isn't nearly as convenient as Saraland or even a place like Sims. The city also falls below I-10, which can make insurance on home purchases really difficult to navigate. So, with all of these negatives, why is it 4th on our tier list? Well, to start, the average household income is actually higher here than it is in the city of Mobile, while the cost of living is actually much lower. Many of the residents' reviews around Grand Bay seem to focus on the comfort and small town charm. It actually doesn't have any 1 or 2 star ratings, so I'm not even sure what a local would say needs to be improved in the city. Here's the overall scorecard, which shows a strong showing in the cost of living and diversity, and maintains good scores in most all other categories. I do want to note that there is a score missing here in the crime and safety, and this is likely because of the small size of Grand Bay. Since Grand Bay only has a population of around 4,000 people, there aren't very many statistics to go around in this area, which can make it really hard to quantify this sort of thing. Last, and I guess technically least on the list, is Sims, Alabama. Now, I want to note that this is technically the bottom of our list, but this isn't the bottom of niche.com's list. They had a total of 17 communities listed in their rankings, so make sure to check out the full list if you're interested in seeing those. Cities that didn't make the top 5 include Theodore, Tillman's Corner, Biola Battery, Chickasaw, Pritchard, and more. Now, Sims shares a very similar B rating as Grand Bay, and it seems to actually hold a lot of the same criticisms. Its smaller population size of about 6,000 residents and its distance from downtown make it less popular for nighttime and evening activities. Now, on the bright side, the median home cost in Sims is $211,000. This is more than all of the others except for Saraland on the list. However, a downside of this is that less residents actually own their homes in this area, with about 28% of people renting. The median household income has a pretty good showing here of about $66,000 a year. This is higher than in Grand Bay or Mobile. Similar to Grand Bay, the positive reviews from the residents seem to focus on the neighborly and friendly atmosphere, and it doesn't have a negative showing just yet. Its overall scorecard shows a struggle with the public school, which I won't lie, this is kind of a big deal. This is why niche.com puts it first in its detailed lineup of scores. If you don't have great schools, people oftentimes don't want to move to your community, which hurts home prices, demand, and inventory. Now, this isn't to say Sims has a terrible school system. It's actually pretty decent, but when you compare it with the other higher rated options on this list, you can see why Sims fell to number 5 in Niche's ratings. So what do we do with all this information? If these are the top spots to live in Mobile County, should you only pick in these spots? Are all the other spots in Mobile County somehow bad? Absolutely not. Everyone's different, and this is very vague information. Within all of these cities, they have pockets of communities and neighborhoods which you might love or you might hate. Every week, as we dive into more areas of Mobile, you can begin to get broad strokes and general information about them, but it's hard to tell what's home yet. That has to be done by you going, checking out the neighborhood, getting a feel for the area, and deciding what area fits your needs. Niche.com can't pick a home for you. I can't pick a home for you, but I can help. That's why on this channel, I'm all about giving you the knowledge you need on making informed decisions. If you could get all the details on an area, you can confidently move to the right spot. That being said, give me a call when you're looking to buy or sell in Mobile or Baldwin County, because I love helping people like you. This is what I'm passionate about. This is what I love to do. And I would love to get to know you and help make your dreams become a reality. Now, my last piece of advice before we depart for this week is to use all of your resources to get to know about specific areas that you're interested in moving to. For any city in our country, there are Facebook groups, there are neighborhood communities that you can join that will help you learn what residents think of their areas. You can learn so much from these groups, like things going on in the city, places to eat, amenities, and all of this just comes by keeping your ear to the ground. And that doesn't just go for Mobile, that goes for anywhere you move to. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Moving to Mobile. I'm going to leave the video I mentioned before about Saraland, Alabama right here for you to check out. As always, I'll see you there, or I will see you next time.